Hi, my name is Samantha and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be talking about how to properly prep for a craft show. Let's get into it. So today's craft show example will be the Quakertown Autumn Alive show. That is the show that I'll be at this Saturday. So that is the show that I'm prepping for. And in doing so, I thought, hey, let me put together a list of things. So if you guys haven't prepped for a show before, maybe there's a part that you're missing, it's helpful to have, your go-to list. So the first thing that you need to do to prep for a show is figure out what show you're going to, the time, the date, the location, how much does it cost? Then, once you've paid for it and signed up, you want to figure out what your goal is for that day. So for example, for Saturday, I've paid $85 for my single spot. Typically, how I figure out my goal is the price times 3. So 85 times 3 is 255. Now, this is an hour away, so an hour of gas there and back, plus I will be getting on the toll. So I would like to say that my goal is $300. Once I've hit $300, my next increment would be $500, then $1,000. But $300 is like the base goal. Another thing to prep would be your food. Never rely on the place to have food available. Even if they say, hey, we've got food trucks, always bring your own food. If it gets put in the refrigerator and you eat it the next day, that's totally fine, but always be prepared with your own food. In this, you need to figure out how long you'll be gone from the house. So you need to figure out what time you're leaving, how many meals you'll be away. I try to typically eat breakfast before I've left or bring breakfast with me, and then I'll eat breakfast once I've set up. Lunch, and for breakfast, I'll typically eat like a banana and a naked smoothie. If you haven't had those before, it's really nice. They're pre-packaged, or you could get the big jug and just pour it in a mason jar or something. You could also get those at the gas station, but I really try to limit my stops in the morning so that I can get straight to the destination. So it's best to do this the night before. So prep some breakfast, and then for lunch, my go-to is a Lunchable, an Uncrustable, one or two of those, and then you could also have a Lunchable. Like you could have something that is pre-made that doesn't need to be heated up. That's a great go-to. I've also taken protein shakes and a protein bar, an apple and peanut butter. All of those are great choices. The apple and a peanut butter is a little tricky depending on how you feel about germs, because you've touched money, you've talked to people, you've possibly touched their hands, you've touched credit cards. So make sure you have some hand sanitizer, or if you're comfortable touching food and putting it in your mouth, something to keep in mind, because generally you will not be able to go to a bathroom with running water and you will not be able to wash your hands all day. So just keep that in mind. Plus, on the days that it's more busy, it's more socially acceptable to say, 1 second, let me take a drink, and you can drink a protein shake versus, oh, I need to eat a bite of my sandwich. Like, it's more socially unacceptable and seen as more disrespectful and rude if you're like munching down on like food that you need to chew, if that makes any sense. So having a liquid is a great option for lunch if your show is busy. If you have someone with you that can speak to your customers while you take a break and you eat, that's great. And then for you need a snack, right? So apple and peanut butter, banana, an orange. At my last show, I didn't pre-peel, but I sliced my orange and put it in a mason jar. In hindsight, wasn't a good idea. I kept having to stick my hand in the mason jar. It would have been better to have a more flat container where I could reach all the pieces, and my hands still did get a little sticky. So I don't know about an orange. Maybe like something that's not juicy like that, like an apple is better. Carrots and ranch, that works out really well. So let me know what your go-tos are. Pretzel and peanut butter, that's a good one. And then dinner. I typically like to reward myself and then whoever's helped me out to dinner that night as like a thank you for helping me, and a reward to myself of, putting myself out there, taking the risk. Whether the show was good or bad, I know that I get a treat at the end of the day, that I don't have to cook dinner. So I typically go out for dinner after a show. But make sure you have all your meals, and also take your beverages, whether that's coffee or soda or water. Make sure you take plenty of water. I love bringing a gallon of water. That way I have plenty of water, and if your neighbors need some water to put in their cup, you can give them a little water. You could also take a case of water. I would stray away from that because then that's a lot of plastic waste and you don't want to add plastic to the environment. But a gallon of water, you can refill that many times. The next thing you want to figure out is, what product are you taking? Now, with both so your booth space that you've paid for, so you know how much space you have. So in figuring out what product, you can put together your layout. I typically like doing that on a Post-it note. I'll put together my sides. For example, this is an outside show, so I am confined to my 10 by 10 space of my booth. And then my tables are 4 foot by 2 foot. So I have made my space, and then that's 10 foot by 10 foot. And I just around the middle with a pencil, I put a cross hatch, so that way I know this is 5 foot, so I know my table's a little smaller. And I don't use an exact grid, but like I eyeball how many tables I can fit in, where I'm gonna put things. And not only does this give me an idea of what I should bring, but if someone's helping me, I can say, hey, here's the plan, help me out. Also, in doing this, you can figure out how much product you need to take to make your sales goals. So our sales goal is $300. If I take $300 worth of product, it's highly, highly unlikely that I will make $300 in sales. You are very rarely ever going to sell out. Really, the only people I've ever seen sell out are food people. So if you want $300 in sales, you need to be taking $600, $1,000, $1,200 worth of product. You need to be taking plenty of product so people can say, oh, I don't like that pattern. Oh, I'm not sure about that. Oh, I don't know about that. They need to have options. They need to have choices. So if you take $300 worth of product and you think you're going to get $300 in sales, I hate to break it to you, but it's probably not going to happen. I don't know the exact value of the inventory that I'm taking, but I'm taking a ton of inventory, definitely well over 1,000. So in this, figuring out my layout, I can figure out what product I'm taking. It also tells me what displays I need to take. If I need to make any updates to my signage, my money, I need to figure out, do I have a way to take credit cards? Do I have a way to take cash? Do I have enough small bills? You need to make sure you have enough dollars and fives. And then, like I said, your layout. So those are all things to prep for your space. Once you're closer to the event, typically the event host will send out your booth location. If you're going to an area that you've never been before, it's a good idea to do a drive-by and figure out where it is that you're going. I have been to this area before. I've been to Quakertown, so I understand where it is that I'll be. So I'm not super stressed out about like, where am I driving to? Where am I unloading? Where am I parking? Parking and your booth space are two great things to know, especially if it's an outdoor event and you can just drive and you can go look. Like I told you guys, when I signed up for the Fabiolli Cellars, I went the weekend before to go check it out, to go figure it out, like where the event would be happening. Obviously, I didn't have all the details of the event, but then I had a better understanding. Oh, I need to drive here. Oh, I need to park here. It gave me a better understanding and made me less stressed for the main day. So, driving by the location, once you do have your booth space, you could drive by again, make sure that you know where it is that you're going, make sure that you have a way to park. For example, this show, I am concerned about the setup and the parking, that whole situation, because the parking is quite far away from the vendor's booth. So I am hoping that my aunt is able to go with me, can go in the car, unload, and then you have to move the car to parking, so I can start setting up and she could take the car to go park and make her way back, because I can set up the booth by myself. But my concern is that even if I got there right at the earliest time, which is 7:30, the event starts at 10 a.m. What if it takes me an hour and a half to find parking because the first lot I go to is full and I have to go to another lot, or I have to go to another lot? There are multiple vendor spots, so it's great to know where your setup is, where your parking is. Can you have another person with you if you need to get your vehicle away from you as fast as possible? So great things to know. Also, having someone to be able to bring your car to you at the end of the event is very helpful too. You can break down your booth while the person brings the car to help you. So having a second person helping you at an event doesn't mean that they know your product, doesn't mean that they're able to make sales, doesn't mean that they can help you set up or break down. Sometimes it's just helpful to have a second person to help move your car, to help allow you to go to the restroom so someone doesn't steal your stuff and they say, hey, she'll be right back. So consider asking a friend, a family member, if they can help you out at the show. If you can pay them for their help, that's great. If you can feed them to pay them for their help, that's great too. Something to show your appreciation. I always find it's very, very helpful at these bigger shows to have a helping hand. There are some shows that I know that I can do by myself, but this show, for example, I was nervous about it and I did not think I could do it myself, so that's why I asked for help. Something else that I forgot to mention is sometimes you need special parking permission. For example, this weekend at Quakertown, we were told that we need this in the windshield of our car to park in the vendor spots. I also need to add my name or my business name so they can contact me if there's an issue with my vehicle. And shows like when I go to Dulles Expo Center, I have to show up at the setup day and I get name tags for all of my people, and then I get a printout for my car. So sometimes you need special permission for your car. Generally, you can only have one vendor car. So if you have additional people helping you, they either need to find somewhere else to park, or you need to get an additional vendor pass. And also for like this weekend, they said we cannot print these day of. So I went ahead and printed 2. I'm going to throw it in my car right now so it's there ahead of time so I do not forget this. So you want to find out your booth location, figure out where that is, your setup details, and you want to work backwards from there. Setup is at 7:30. That means that for me to get there, it's an hour and 15 minutes. I need to be out of my door at 6 a.m. I don't know about you, but I am not loading my car at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's not happening. So my car needs to be filled up, my lunchbox needs to be packed, and my gas tank needs to be full, my clothes laid out the night before, because I am getting up, getting dressed, and leaving. I am not doing any of that in the in the morning. So figure out your time that you need to be there and work your way back. And also have some fail safes. I know it only takes me an hour to set up my booth. I am not arriving at 9 a.m. What if I arrive at 9 a.m. and it takes me 20 minutes to get to my booth and then unload my stuff, and then I still have to go take my car and then I have to come back and set up? Then it's 10 o'clock and I'm not set up. I am not taking that risk. I would much, much rather be set up at 9 o'clock, have an hour till the show starts, be able to sit there, enjoy my banana, and maybe go mosey around and go look at the other booths while I'm waiting for the show to open. Who knows? Always allow time for fail safes just in case something happens, because you don't know. There could be an accident, there could be traffic, it could take longer than you expect to get to your booth, your tent could break. Who knows what could happen? So always have a fail safe. The weather. I wouldn't recommend checking the weather like anxiously a bunch before the event. I typically check like maybe 3 days out or a week out, the night before, and double check what the weather is. Layers are always best. I love wearing layers. Sometimes I'll even take a second pair of pants just in case I want to change out, shorts versus pants, t-shirt, a pullover, a zip up. I love having layers to change it up. And just because it's warm outside or cold outside doesn't mean that would be the temperature in your booth. For example, when I was at Leesport Farmers Market, I was cold in my booth because I wasn't moving around, but it was a beautiful day. So I wore my jacket all day, but most of the customers were wearing shorts and a t-shirt. I would have been comfortable in shorts and a t-shirt if I was walking around. So something to keep in mind: how much movement will you have in your day? Are you inside? Are you outside? All of those things. Pack the car the night before, gas, and know the route. So those are all my tips for making sure that you're prepped properly before a show. Let me know what your tips are in the comment section down below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.